The Holy Gospel according to Matthew. In the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is this child who has been born King of the Jews? For we have observed his star at its rising, and we have come to pay him homage." When King Herod heard this, he was frightened, and all Jerusalem with him. And calling together all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Messiah was to be born. They told him, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for so it has been written by the prophet. And you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means the least among the rulers of Judah. For from you shall come a ruler who is to shepherd my people Israel." Then Herod secretly called the wise men and learned from them the exact time when the star appeared. Then he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word so that I may also go and pay him homage." When they had heard the king, they had set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen at its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother, and they knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chest, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they left for their own country by another road. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord. I invite you to be seated. Grace and peace to you from God, our loving Creator, and from God's Son, Jesus, our Redeemer and our strength. This familiar story of the wise men from Matthew's Gospel is so very, very appropriate for us this morning at Grace as we celebrate Epiphany Sunday, the final Sunday of the Christmas season. In the dictionary, the word epiphany has three distinct meanings. When it's capitalized, it refers to the manifestation of Christ to the Gentiles, which is described in Matthew's Gospel as the revelation to the wise men who were foreigners. They weren't Jewish people from another land. That's what we're celebrating here this morning. When epiphany is in lowercase, it applies to the manifestation of any god or deity. And finally, the more common usage in our language today is that epiphany it means an insightful or dramatic moment that instills new spiritual insight or perspective. Our gospel story this morning is overflowing with richness, with many dramatic characters and powerful visuals. Our beautiful mural that we've had up through Advent and Christmas captures some of those. We have Mary, Joseph, and Jesus. We have the wise men on camels finishing their journey. Although I noticed this morning that the way our mural is positioned in the sanctuary, the wise men are approaching from the west and not the east, but we'll work with that. And at the very center, is the magnificent star. That star is also on the front of all your bulletins this morning. There are two aspects of today's gospel that are particularly relevant for all of us at Grace this morning. The first is the long journey of the wise men, a journey to a new, completely foreign space. Matthew tells us that when they arrived at their destination and saw that where the star had stopped before them, they were overwhelmed with joy. As I was contemplating this gospel reading all week, I was struck by the similarities between this story and the long journey taken by the Venezuelan family that will arrive at our parsonage in just a few hours, arriving at their new home. They too left their homes for a long journey to an unknown land, led by hopes and dreams of a better life and a brighter future for their family. And as I mentioned in my announcements, the outpouring of generosity and help by our entire Grace family for this new family has been nothing short of miraculous. It's been wonderful all week watching things unfold, seeing all the action, the excitement. And the team that's been coordinating this keeps using these words over and over. Unbelievable, miraculous. You all have been wonderful. And friends, your gifts to this new family are every bit as valuable as gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Thank you. A few days ago, Pastor Heidi met with the family to discuss the final details of their upcoming move. And then after that, she shared with me that one of the family members was just speechless and overwhelmed at how this is all unfolding after everything they've been through these past many, many months. They're overwhelmed with the graciousness of the congregation and the gift they are about to be given. Just like the wise men, this family is overwhelmed with joy as they approach their new destination. The second piece of our reading this morning that's absolutely relevant to us here at Grace is, of course, the star. And if you were with us last year around the Epiphany season, you may remember that we all received little cards, little star gifts, star words, actually, that we're invited to use throughout the year to help us in listening to see where we hear God in our lives. In her Epiphany sermon last year, Pastor Heidi promised that today, this Sunday, we are going to share some of the people's personal reflections of how their star word touched or impacted their life over the course of the year. If I say Star Wars, just forgive me. I've been doing it all week. I'm of that generation. Just work with me. One person taped her star word to her mirror, so she saw it every single morning as she began her day. And then she carried that word in her heart throughout the day. Another person carried it in his wallet, where he was able to bring it out at various points during busy days and weeks. For him, it served as a point of centering. Others kept it in a bookmark in their Bible or their devotional books. Some taped it to their refrigerator so they could see it multiple times throughout the day, every time they passed through the kitchen. Some told me they actually held it as a tactile reminder of their star gift. And like all good gifts, everyone can use them in their own unique and personal ways. One congregation member emailed us the following reflection and graciously asked us to share it this morning with you. My star word for 2023 was transcendent. My first thought was the verse from Philippians 4:7. And the peace of God which transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. Initially, by this, I saw transcendent as a word that could only be used in reference to God, not to any human quality or ability. Not seeing a focus for myself in this, I decided to go to my old treasured dictionary to see the definition offered there. The definition of transcendent in the dictionary pointed in a similar direction as Philippians: superior or supreme in excellence, going beyond, transcending human experience. Then I noticed that the origin of transcend, above, with this definition: to rise above or beyond, to be or go beyond the grasp of comprehension. There I realized a definite human possibility in my word. It was a reminder to me that when I am treated poorly in any situations of daily life, if I am treated unfairly or hurt by family or friends, I should rise above the situation and not relate or dwell on the insult that hurt me. My hardest mantra has always been to let go and let God. When I was a child, I cried to my mom, "It's not fair." Her continual response was, "Linda, life's not fair. You need to get over it." Well, I still haven't gotten over that. Life is not fair. However, I used my word. I am trying to rise above it, to transcend it. And although I am not always successful, I hope God and my mom are smiling down on me for my effort. And then she concluded her email, I am looking forward to receiving my 2024 star word, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. And at this time, I'd like to invite Sharon Devens up to come and share a brief reflection of her star word from this year.
Good morning. Sometimes it seems like a year, and sometimes it seems like a lot longer. But the star word that I picked, or actually that picked me, is restoring. Now, my first thought when I looked at the word was, what shall I do with this? Because that's my normal first reaction. What should I do? But instead, I decided that I'd place it where I'd have it in plain view and just let it resonate with me. And of course, where did I place it? On my phone. That way I knew that I would look at it many times during the day. And I did look at it frequently. At one point, I looked up how frequently the word restore is found in the Bible. There are 165 instances and 21 verses that talk about restoring. But for me and for many of you, the verse that comes immediately to mind is the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. Now, you'll remember that when we got our Star Words, there we go, Star Wars, we were just at the point where we were becoming a bit more comfortable gathering together here at Grace. It was the end of COVID. Now, things still felt a bit tentative, and I, for one, was still a little uneasy. But as we moved forward, I realized that restoring was not about what I would do, but what would happen to me. It's the healing force. Once again, I realized I could be with family and friends unrestrained. Once again, we could go out to restaurants and events. Once again, I could hug my children, my grandchildren, and my dearest friends. Travel was once again possible. I could meet new people and visit new places. And what came to me a few days ago as I was coming out of Trader Joe's and someone approached me with a huge smile was that once again we could smile at strangers without being covered. So for me, the restoring continues, and may it never stop. I am forever grateful for life-giving renewal.
Thank you, Sharon. So friends, in a few minutes, we're all going to get our new star word for 2024. As we receive the offering this morning, the ushers will also be passing out baskets with star words in them. I invite you to reach in, now without looking, just reach in and take a word, don't shuffle through them, and take your new card, your new gift from the Spirit to guide your prayers, ponderings, and meditations throughout this year. And if you're not with us on site this morning, we'll have cards available for the next several weeks at the desk in Fellowship Hall. Just stop by and take one. And if you regularly join us online, email Karen Janik, and her email address should be popping up on the screen shortly, and she will mail you your own personal word for the year. I invite you then, over the course of the year, to regularly come back to your star gift and be aware of those times when you encounter God through your word. How is your word serving as a star, leading you to God? Theologian Richard Rohr had a timely letter in his daily meditation on Thursday. It really fit in as I was preparing my sermon. I'd like to share a way of praying that has spoken to me recently. When circumstances seem too overwhelming to even know how to pray, I start with one word. I settle myself and bring one word into focus. Words like help, resilience, patience, courage, stillness, breathing, hope, serenity. Then I sit with God and keep that word present in my mind. I hope that you too can experience the centering sensation from a simple one-word prayer with God. People of grace, we hope that your star word will lead you on new journeys this year, where, like the wise men, you may experience God in new ways and be transformed by the Holy. Where you too may be overwhelmed with joy and then move onward down a different road toward new, yet unseen journeys and destinations in the journey of your life. May we all encounter new epiphanies on our journeys this year. Amen.